Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Findmypast Fridays Live. It is Friday, it is 4 o'clock, so we all know what that means. If you are new around here, my name is Liam. I work in the customer support team here at Findmypast, and as always, it is my pleasure to be here with you on a very sunny Friday, and I hope it is the same where you all are as well. Do let us know in the comments, as usual, where you're coming in from. If you do have the sun, and let us know what you have planned for the weekend ahead. And we also have Ellie in the comments today as well, so be sure to say a big hello to Ellie as well. So who have we got coming in? So we've got Roz from a sunny, warm Massachusetts. Very nice. Nice to hear we've all got the sun. And you're from very hot and sunny Stoke-on-Trent. I feel like this is going to be one of those days where we have quite consistent weather across the board. Fingers crossed anyway. And Rosie, I'm right there with you from a very hot and hay feverish Shropshire. I've been doing well so far. I had that, was it the last time I hosted Facebook Live? Maybe I had the hay fever, but I have been keeping away this summer so far anyway. Touch wood, I'm sure I've just cursed myself for the weekend and it's going to happen on the weekend. But as I say, so far, so good. We've got Kim from sunny West Yorkshire. Andrew from Lancashire, currently 28 degrees in Lancashire. So that is above my limit, I would say. My computer's telling me it's 21 degrees here in Dundee at the moment, which is about as hot as I can take. I would say 28 is a little bit too hot for me. And we've got Sue Moon coming in, very heavy on the emojis today. Love to see it, from a very hot and sunny Guildford in Surrey. Matthew has the sun, but also breezy in Watford. Sometimes you like a little bit of a breeze. On a day like this, it's kind of takes that little bit of a sting out of it as well. So quite nice, quite jealous of that as well. Susan from a sunny Canada, lots of gardening plans this weekend. I feel like a lot of people might be doing the same as well, Susan. It is definitely the weather for it as well. Weather to be outside enjoying yourself and having a lovely garden to do so is always nice as well. And we've got Anya from across the water saying it is roasting here. It's not a long sleeve, it is short sleeve, I promise. A long sleeve would probably kill me off, which is not what we want on this Friday. So it is short sleeve. I'm trying to be sensible, wearing white as well, trying to, a little bit of science behind it, reflect the sun rather than absorb it. Although the room that I'm working in is my spare room, so the sun is right over there. So I just get the sun more or less all day, every day, which means it is absolute cooking in here at the moment. So I quite like when I finish work, I get to go back to the front of the flat in the living room and it's much cooler, get a little bit of respite anyways as well. So nice to see. Hope you're keeping well across the water as well. We've got Ellen that's from a smoky Roscoe, Illinois. Still have haze from the Canadian fire. So yeah, I saw quite a lot of pictures of that. It was mostly New York I was seeing pictures of when it had that orange, like apocalyptic almost glow to it there. So, and heard that there was quite a lot of problems with the air quality as well. People were being advised to stay indoors if need be, to avoid that. So I hope you are all staying safe over there as well, and anyone else affected by that over as well. As it was quite scary to see a lot of the pictures from Canada and the aftermath in Northern America as well. And one more, we've got Jane from bit hazy, but it's been really sunny and warm, Preston area, UK. So nice to see. As I say, quite like a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of haze there. So not too bad. And as I say, I hope you're all staying safe over the weekend as well is the main thing as well. And I thought we would try and help each other out a little bit on that front with the question of the week this week. The question of the week is, what is your summer genealogy survival guide? So when you're doing your family history, because family history doesn't stop, as we all know. It might be 20 degrees, 28 degrees outside, but there's always ancestors to find. A little bit of sun doesn't put us off. So what are you doing? How are you adjusted your work to stay safe in the sun, manage to enjoy your research? Are you staying inside, as a lot of people are, although I've been in countless meetings this week where people have been outside in their garden on meetings, which isn't for me. Firstly, I can't really see the screen when I'm outside, and second of all, just too hot for me. I don't fancy working outside. So some of the adjustments I've been making are, I'm a big fan of coffee, a lot of coffee during the day working and when I'm sitting down to do some research as well. So I've been switching to the iced coffees in some regard as well, because as I say, it's just too hot for a normal coffee. Lots of ice in the water, keeping that ice tray filled up. And yeah, short sleeves always inside, short sleeves and shorts inside at the moment. So if you have any tips, any adjustments you've made to your working plan over the past few days when it's been as hot as this, do let us know. And as I say, we can maybe help each other out, maybe pick up a few tips from each other and see what we can learn. And if there's any adjustments that we could all make to make family history that little bit more comfortable for ourselves whilst the weather is like this. Good stuff. So we will have a look at the new records in a second. Then we've got a little bit of a quiz for you as well, a little bit interaction on this Friday. See some records that you may have missed on the website. It's going to be a little bit of a lighter session today, maybe a little bit shorter, although how many times have I said that? And I still end up on here until 5 to 5. So may not be a little bit shorter, but as I say, going to keep things light in the sun. Nice light session because lucky you do have a Liam Boyle doubleheader this week. I am back this time next week hosting again, and that is going to be a little bit heavier on the research and feature side of things. So I thought I would give myself and yourself a bit of a lighter Friday afternoon, and absolutely nothing to do with the fact that me and Ellie were at our summer party last night. Did not play any part in the preparations for today. I promise I'm absolutely fine, as I'm sure Ellie will tell you. So we will have a look at the new records first of all, and I will pop my slides on screen, and I'm going to full screen them because I can never see them if it's not full screen. So new records. So we've got 3 new updated collections this week, and they are actually all from Bedfordshire. So if you have Bedfordshire ancestors, this is your week. This is the week to get stuck back into them. So they are all transcription only. Pardon me. They all come from, you may have seen in your searches online, the like grouped collections like the England and Wales birth and baptisms, England and Wales marriages, etc. So these are all the Bedfordshire ones from those collections, but pulled into the own record sets. So they now have Bedfordshire baptisms, Bedfordshire marriages, and Bedfordshire burials as well. Now, there is no parish list at the moment, although there was a yet next to that when I was advised. So I'm hoping that is something that comes soon. If you aren't aware of the parish list, it's a really, really handy feature. It is what it is. It's a list of the parishes which are available in that collection. So, for example, the Bedfordshire baptisms, it would tell you all the parishes which are available and the years to and from, so the earliest record and the latest record. And if you haven't used them before, I think I may have mentioned this previously, but if you open up my old friend, the All Record Sets page, you search for the name of the county, so you pop in Bedfordshire, for example. You click on one of those collections, like the Bedfordshire baptisms, and then on the search page on the right-hand side, there's a useful links and resources section, and that is where you will see things like the parish list if it is available. And as I say, it is always worth consulting, especially if there's ancestors from an area who you know were there at the time, but maybe haven't found them yet. Double check the parish list and you will see if that parish is indeed available yet. But as I say, 3 new updates. So for Bedfordshire baptisms, there are records from 1466 to 2011, nice and recent. That's over 40,100 new records. The Bedfordshire marriages, 1568 to 1989, over 49,000 new records. And the Bedfordshire burials starting all the way back in 1329 and going right through to 1999, which is a massive amount of time covered. And that is almost 44,500 new records in there. So very, very nice to see a lot of really early ones and also some recent ones as well, which is always nice as well. Important to have also. And there are some famous individuals to be found in these records as well. Now, when I was doing my preparation, I'd found this lovely picture of Mr. Admiral John Byng from the Illustrated London News. My original plan was to ask if anybody knows why he was famous, and then I realized that the screenshot I took includes a little caption about him, which explains exactly why he was famous. So, massive spoiler, but Admiral John Byng. So Admiral John Byng was an admiral, and during the 7-Year War, he was involved in the Battle of Minorca against the French, a battle which he ultimately lost, and the reaction back home wasn't too great. They weren't too pleased with Mr. Byng and felt like he hadn't done his utmost to win the battle and showed some cowardice, and public opinion at the time wasn't too great. He was seen as very much responsible for the loss in that battle, and was ultimately tried and executed as a result of that. And something that I'm not going to go into too much detail, because I know if someone such as our colleague Charlotte is watching, for example, I will be doing the story an absolute disservice. So I will leave that to her for another day. Maybe she'll be able to tell you all about that in her expertise. But he can be found in the Bedfordshire baptisms. Here he is here in 1704, 29th of October 1704. And again, very typical of a parish baptism record, but you do have the parents' names as well, which is always nice to see. Doesn't always appear, but always a very, very handy one to have in there if it is available. As I say, they are transcription only, but still all the usual detail that you would expect to see. And when I found him in these records, it's not someone who I had heard of before. So I did start doing a little bit of digging in other records as well, see where else he could be found on Findmypast. And of course, there are countless newspapers about this as well, which something every single time I do this, it always blows my mind to think that you can go back to a newspaper from the 1750s, for example, and find out what was happening at the time as well. Every single week I do it, it always blows my mind, and this one was no different. So this is an article about the trial of Admiral Byng, and as I say, you can see that the people definitely weren't too happy with him. You can tell by the sort of language that's being used in the article, saying, for example, at the trial, he showed far more spirit now than he did at Minorca, and was so confident of acquittal that he kept a post-chaise standing ready every day to carry him to London. So he just thought he was going to get away with this. But ultimately, unfortunately, he did not, as I mentioned, and he was ultimately executed as a result, as I say, and he wasn't in the Bedfordshire burial records that I could find, not that I could find anyway, in my quick searches, but he is in the National Burial Index for England and Wales, so that is the burial record as a result of the execution, 23rd of March, 1757. And one thing that I did quite like was when I was looking him up online, I saw a lot of mentions of the inscription on his headstone. And I thought that this is some statement to have printed on your headstone. Just the language again, to the perpetual disgrace of public justice, for example. He said he fell a martyr to political persecution when bravery and loyalty were insufficient securities for life and honour of a naval officer. So I'll say, some way to go having that printed on your headstone after everything that had happened. And that one's from a much later newspaper, but I think the article in the South London Observer said that they'd found a dictionary or something that had that inscription printed on it to say that that's what was on the headstone. So, as I say, a nice reminder as well that when you are searching, you never know when an article is going to come up. Even though this is from 1757, the newspaper itself is from 1904. And keeping in with the newspapers, we do, of course, have countless new newspapers to be read on the website this week as well. A lot of new titles as well, which is always good to see, and a lot of years available for them as well. You've got things like the Hampshire Post and Southsea Observer, the Morning Leader. That's a really nice title. I was having a look at that earlier. A Southampton Observer and Hampshire News, Tunbridge Wells Weekly Express, for example. And as well as a lot of new titles, a lot of updates as well, which again is always nice to see, especially when they are covering all corners as well. We've got more Bedfordshire records in there. We've got Belfast, Dublin, Durham, Edinburgh, Roscommon, Montgomeryshire, and Weekly Freeman's Journal as well, for example. So a nice collection of new and updated newspapers to get stuck into. If you don't have Bedfordshire ancestors and those records weren't necessarily relevant to your research, I'm sure there's something in these newspapers for you to find with your family. So that brings us to an end of the new records. So I will take my slides away if I can remember how. There we go. And I'm going to have a sip of water. As I say, I did put ice in this about 15 minutes ago and it has already melted. So as I say, just really struggling in this heat in this back room as well. Good stuff. So let's have a look. So we will have a look at some questions of the week. So I can see that we have already got a lot of good answers in for this as well. So I will read a couple of these out before we move on and keep them coming in as well. I will be sure to come back and read more of these out later on. I'm just having a look in there, make sure I haven't missed any here. Let's have a look. I'm just going to flick through as well because, as I say, I have to make these slides full screen. I think my eyesight is going even worse in my old age, so I'm really struggling to see them when they're small. So I have to make it full screen, and then I miss all the comments. So I'm just catching up with the comments as well, seeing if I missed anything from the Bedfordshire there. A lot of asks about the original images. So as Ellie says, we do know how precious those original images are. We always love to have the original images on the website as well, but not always possible, unfortunately, although we are always updating new collections as well. So fingers crossed, maybe sometime down the line we'll be hosting one of these and we will have the original images for you. So keep an eye on the Friday Live, the blog post, and of course the newsletter on Friday as well. Let's have a look. Just making sure. So Karen says that John Bing was buried 14th of March 1757, Portsmouth Unitary Authority, Hampshire, England, as per Find a Grave. Good find. Was there a picture of the grave at all on there, Karen? Because I'd say that's what was reported online as what was on the headstone, but I didn't actually find a picture of it myself. So I'd be curious to know if Find a Grave had a picture of the headstone itself as well, so we could have a look and see if that was the case. But as I say, we will do some question of the week answers. Just a quick reminder in case you are late joining us today. The question of the week was, what is your summer genealogy survival guide? What hints and tips have you got for us to keep family history as comfortable as it can be when it is as hot as it is outside? So we will start with our very own Ellie, saying that she has seen pictures of people working out in the garden with their laptop tablet in a cardboard box. So I did see quite a lot of that as well. As I say, I think I'd really struggle to see the screen outside. So having that little cardboard box, very creative, maybe a bit too much like DIY for my liking. I'm probably not capable of something as simple as cutting a hole in a cardboard box to make my screen easier to see. And Ken is saying, I researched less in the summer. Apparently, it's good to spend time with the living relatives. Not sure who told you that, Kim. I'm certainly not sure I agree, but I'm not sure who told you that. But as I say, I know a lot of people do tend to take a bit more of a break over summer and come back to it in the winter, darker months when the weather is a bit more friendly for staying indoors. So I don't blame you there. You need to enjoy it whilst you can as well. Jean saying she's staying indoors where it is nice and cool. Definitely, I'm doing the same. As I say, working outside is definitely not for me. And Ellen doing something a little bit different when the weather is as nice as it is. She's hoping to go to the Genealogy Centre at the Allen County Public Library in Indiana. Will be a nice weekend trip and hopefully a brick wall busting one. Fingers crossed for you, Ellen. I'm sure that will be a very fruitful trip. And it's nice to get out and about when you can enjoy the sun on the way there, but then also you've got that family history at the end of it as well. So very, very good to see. We have got Lynn saying she's planning on working on updating her family tree, but not sure how far she'll get as she's having cataract surgery. So I hope everything goes okay, Lynn. Hope surgery goes well and wish you a quick recovery as well. I'm sure you will be back on that family tree in no time at all. Let's have a look. We'll go for a couple more. Janet, indoors with the blinds drawn, very much like me, although the sun seems to be playing absolute havoc with my lighting at the moment. 1 minute I'm bright as day, the next minute I seem to just disappear into the background. So I've cracked the blind a little bit for the first time, but it is reflecting the sun more than it is keeping the light itself out. So I've been trying my hardest to stay cool. And Janet has also been searching the 1921 census entries as she's upgraded her subscription. So many entries to check out. So I'm glad to hear you've gone for the upgrade, Janet. I'm sure that will provide a lot of new information for you as well. And it can be really good to just have that time when you've maybe not accessed as much of it as you would like over the past few months. Having that time with the upgraded subscription, you can check as many as you like, flick through, get them all added onto the family tree as well. So as I say, hope it is a fruitful weekend for you in the 1921 census as well. And Karen doing some more in person. All these living relatives seem to be coming up in the summer months as well. So she is attending her cousin's big birthday tomorrow. Lovely to be able to catch up as some came from different parts of the country. So nice to all get together as well. Wish your cousin a very happy birthday tomorrow as well. I'm sure you will all have a fantastic time there as well. And maybe you can pick up some hints and tips, maybe get some family stories that you can get back stuck into and prove wrong or right, depending on how they go. So as I say, I'm sure that will be a very nice weekend for you all. Let's have a look at the comments. I've got a few more to read out, but I will keep some to come back to later as well. And we'll just see if I have missed anything whilst they've been there. And then Gina saying that in about an hour, it'll get awkward to see my screen until the sun drops behind the trees at about 8 p.m. So the way my garden is, as I say, the sun is right there at the moment, beaming right on top of me. And we still have quite a nice bit of shade in our back garden. There was some big trees in the back that would keep us a bit cooler there. But there is a lane behind my flat. It apparently used to be the rope works for the Tay, and that's where that was. But now they are building new flats on there. They've just started putting the foundations in. So unfortunately, they have chopped down all my lovely trees that were in that lane, which were protecting me from the sun a little bit more. So as I say, it was disappointing, but nice to get a little bit more sun as well, I suppose. Always nice too. Let's have a look. Anything else there? Good stuff. So we will have a look at our next segment. I think this could be one where I say it's going to be a shorter one. It might actually end up being a shorter one. Somehow it is only 22 minutes past, but you will be responsible for how long it goes, depending on how you do with these questions that I've got for you. So as I say, we're going to play a little bit of a game, but also hopefully you'll learn something as well and see what records are out there on Findmypast, which you may not have come across before. Just getting my Post-it note with all the details organized as well, so I can remember what it is I am talking about. So we're going to play a game which I have very catchily dubbed Where in the World is Findmypast? So usually when I'm trying to pick a record set to talk about, one that you may have missed, like you'll know is a popular segment that we do on Fridays live these days, I usually just open up the all record sets, have a flick through, see what's out there, anything I may have missed myself even, or anything that sounds interesting that I've not had a look in before, and something to talk about there. So we're going to play a game of where in the world is Findmypast, because all of these amazing countries, different locations were popping up on the all record sets page, and they were a big surprise to me in some cases, ones which I didn't know we had, ones which I wasn't even sure anywhere would have records from necessarily. So it was an eye-opener for me, and hopefully, as I say, you will learn something as well. And if you have ancestors from all corners of the world, as these places are, then hopefully there is something out there for you too. Bear with me a second, sorry. Oh, a little bit of a cough there. Maybe the hay fever is coming on after all. But yeah, so basically how this is going to work is I'm going to put a flag on the screen and you're going to tell me which country or place, not all countries, the last couple aren't countries, a little bit of a hint for you there, which it is. And these are all places, as I say, where we have records on Findmypast, which, as I say, maybe some surprises in there for you. And I will, once the answer has been given, I will tell you what records we have. And they are all birth, marriage, and death records, I will caveat, but I've got the years in front of me here as well, so I can tell you what is available. So we'll start off with an easy one so we can get to grips with the game. So pop this country on screen. Very well timed comment from Julie there talking about the Vikings in Scandinavia. If I pop this flag on screen, in the comments you'll tell me which country it is. No prizes, as always, no prizes apart from my respect as always. And yeah, people getting that one in as well. So that is, of course, Sweden. That is the flag of Sweden. And for Sweden, as I say, we have birth, marriages, and deaths. We've got birth and baptisms from 1611 to 1920, marriages from 1630 to 1920, and deaths from 1649 to 1920. So a lot of records in there, a lot of really early ones as well, which is always good to see. And Anya saying Abaland as well. Absolutely. That would just been a good game to play when Eurovision was on. That would have been a good one for there. But yes, that is, of course, Sweden. So as I say, personally, I think they'll maybe get progressively harder as they go on. Some maybe trip you up. This next one is one that would have tripped me up. I don't know why. I just always struggle with certain flags like this. I feel like there's a lot of red, white, and blue flags with stars in them there. Different places, which I'm not going to name at the moment in case anybody else has the same sort of thinking as me and maybe isn't necessarily sure which one these is, but which country do we think this is? Where do we have birth, marriages, and deaths from this time? Answers in the comments. The first 4 are countries, and then things go a little bit different. So people are maybe on the same line as me. Cuba is coming up. Cuba is a very similar flag. As I say, they also have, pretty sure it's a blue, like the same sort of white star in the blue background and red horizontal stripes, but it's not Cuba, not a million miles away, although geography has never been my strong point. But Cuba is one of the ones that would trip me up as well. Panama, again, I think is a very similar flag as well. But Karen has got it. It is indeed Chile. So I'm glad it wasn't just me that thinks that as well, because as I say, there's a lot of these South American countries, your Panama, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Chile, all these sort of places, similar sort of flags, red, white, and blue, with the star there as well. So it was a tricky one, as I say. I'm glad I wasn't alone in that one. But we do have quite a lot of records from Chile as well, actually. For births and baptisms, we have 1585 to 1932, marriages 1579 to 1930, and deaths 1700 to 1920. And got a comment from Ellie there saying, "Is anyone watch The Big Bang Theory? This is like Findmypast presents fun with flags." So very good. Promise that is not where I stole the idea from, although I'm sure Ellie will remember we used to have a colleague here at Findmypast who hosted a meeting every Friday, last thing on a Friday, after Facebook Live, of course, and they would play a game called Find My Flag, where they would show flags, different things about the flag, the history of the country, and different things. So that was my inspiration, not The Big Bang Theory. That was more my thinking was that, as I say, Ellie, I'm sure you will get that reference from our former colleague of ours. Keeping in line with the red, white, and blue theme, if anyone knows which country this is one which jumped out at me on the list, because as I say, this is one which I really didn't think we would have had records from. Quite often a customer will phone and ask, do you have records from country XYZ? And if someone asked me about this one, my immediate reaction would have been no. So I was very surprised to see that, very pleasantly surprised to see that on the All Record Sets page. If anybody knows which country this is. Karen saying that some of my husband's cousins ended up in Chile, so they might be worth a look in those Chilean records. As I say, they're up to 1932 for the births, 1930 for the marriages, and 1920 for the deaths. So if that is in keeping with those dates, then that would be the one. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, people are getting there. And a quick off the mark. It is indeed the Philippines. Karen's got it. Jean's got it as well. Callie's got it. Joe, very well done. This is not one that I would have got, although kind of similar to the South American ones, where a lot of them follow the kind of same sort of patterns. I feel like I've definitely seen some flags like this before from kind of Southeast Asia, that part of the world. So a few different possibilities I thought that this one might have been. But as I say, very impressed that people got that one as quickly as they did. Very, very well done. And yes, I say this was one which I really didn't think we would have records from, but we do indeed. We have births from 1642 to 1994, marriages from 1723 to 1957, and deaths from 1726 to 1957. So a lot of records from the Philippines. As I say, I was first of all surprised we had any at all, and then to see that the births were 1642 to 1994, I thought was pretty amazing as well. So a very, very good one there. And yet loads of people getting that one in the comments. As I say, very impressed by that one. Sue Moon saying, shame you can't post picture. I've got a flag for people to guess, particularly relevant today. I would love to know what flag that is. So you've got my attention now. I really want to know what flag that is. So if you want, feel free just to put the country in the comments and we'll see if I would have got that one. Or I'm trying to work out if there's a way that you could private message it to Ellie and she can tell me maybe. So if you're up for it, feel free to try and drop us a quick message with the flag and we can see if anybody else gets that one. If Ellie can let me know which one that is. I might not even know what it is, judging by the way my research for this went. I turned out don't know very much about flags at all. And Joe, I won't class this as cheating because the fact your 16-year-old daughter got it is very impressive as well. So a big shout out to her as well. And I'm glad to hear she's watching along as well and helping you out with the questions too. And as I say, no lost marks for cheating, because impressive that your daughter managed to get that one as well. Let's have a look. What have we got next? This was another one which I was very surprised to see on the list. This one we actually only have births and marriages from, and again, not one which I would have got at all. Now, again, this is one much like when I was going to ask why Admiral Bing was famous, and then I realized that the description of the picture actually told you why he was famous. I had this flag in my slides, and then when I was doing a little run through not long before I came live, I realized that the name of the country was actually written in yellow around the insignia in the middle. So you can probably make out where I have expertly Microsoft painted out of the yellow writing, which had the name of the country written in broad daylight. So if you do know this one, they will there. People getting close with Ecuador. Karen, you're good at this. El Salvador. It is indeed El Salvador. Not one which I would have got at all, I will admit, as I say. Don't think I've ever seen this flag before. This is definitely not one I would have recognized anyway. I think I'd maybe gone Honduras or something. I think their flag is quite similar. And yeah, Joe saying Uruguay as well. That is a very similar kind of flag. I feel like one thing I've noticed is that a lot of flags are very, very similar, actually. When you actually compare flags, they all follow, quite a lot of them follow a similar sort of pattern with the blue and white, a horizontal, and then the badge in the middle. I think, like I say, Honduras, I'm pretty sure, is one like that. Good stuff. So El Salvador, we have, as I say, births and marriages only, no deaths, but births from 1750 to 1940, and marriages from 1810 to 1930. So, as I say, another very surprising one that came up in my look at the All Record Sets page. And it's something I would also recommend you doing as well. If you are ever curious as to what we have, just open up the All Record Sets page. We've got the search box and the country box as well, or the location box that you can enter a country in. And if you go in there, you can just, as I say, what I was basically doing was scrolling through the All Record Sets page, but also just popping countries in, like Sweden, for example, is one I found just by using that as a random sort of a guess of a country as to we might have records from, and just popping a few different ones in. Sweden, Spain, Denmark, for example, were ones. Karen has been swatting up. She should have maybe kept this quiet, but they were doing a guess the flag session last night via TikTok. So I think I've seen that. I think someone has showed me that. Is that when you get like sort of the filter and it has the flag above your head as well, and you have to guess what flag comes up? So very well timed for you anyway, Karen. I hope some of these didn't come up. Maybe there are some new ones there for you. And we have got 3 more. Now, those 4 were all countries. The next 3 are not countries. I will leave it at that, but they are not countries. So maybe a little bit trickier or maybe easier depending on where you are in the world or the kind of research you have done before. But this one, there's probably a big clue in the style of the flag as to where it is, but do you know specifically where this one is? I'm starting to think that people are going to get a real feel for what I spent my Friday morning doing, just on Wikipedia, on Google Images, looking at list of flags, picking up random ones. Suman saying that she has sent the flag over via Facebook Messenger. So if Ellie does manage to pick that up, you can let me know in the private chat and we'll see if I can get that one up. You will see in Wales, the Falklands, Gibraltar, not too bad. So as I say, this is one which I definitely would not have got. So I just got a notification there. So this is actually New South Wales. This one is. Karen again. You're too good at this, Karen. You're going to be excluded from any future flag games I play, because I'm pretty sure you've got every single one of these right so far. I can see a lot of people thinking, especially with Gibraltar, that would have been a very good guess. I think the Union Jack in the corner At first, I thought that because it looked quite similar to Australia, New Zealand flags, that maybe it was easier than that. But a lot of people going for the sort of British colonies, Gibraltar, the Falklands, for example, as well. So very good guesses. But as I say, not one that I would have got anyway. Definitely not one that I would have got. And I don't have the dates written down for this, but we've got a lot of New South Wales records online as well. And again, can be found with a search of the All Record Sets page. This next one is my favorite flag on the list. Some of you may have got this one. I'm not entirely sure, but I will pop this one because, as I say, it went down a massive rabbit hole on Wikipedia today looking at various flags. And this one jumped out the page at me straight away because it was so cool, I thought. So let us know if you know where this flag is from. As I say, something entirely different. So I was very excited to find this one and see exactly what that is. So if anybody knows what this one is, then do be sure to let us know. I have the flag. I'm just trying to figure out a way to get this on screen without giving anything away and disclosing there. Matthew, you are still here. I can see you there. We do definitely still have you. As I say, I'm just trying to figure out a way I can get this next flag that was suggested to us on. Yeah, I think I might have something here. It is a county in the UK, Karen. If you get this one, we've already been very impressed so far, but you've done well so far. Few people getting it. It is indeed Berkshire. Oh, it is indeed Berkshire. Randall got that over on YouTube. Very well done. Matthew, Callie, Beth, and Ellen, I would have been right there with you. If it wasn't me that picked this flag, that is exactly what my thoughts would have been. Very cool flag. No idea where that was from. Matthew saying he's researching Berkshire at the moment. So maybe you've come across this before. Maybe we've got, I was going to say we've got one more, but we've got two more now. Now that we've got that second one sent in and the person who sent it over, his name has entirely slipped my mind. I can only apologize. Maybe there, but we've got two more now because we have a suggestion in here, I assume, and that's who it was. Thank you very much indeed. So next one, not going to give anything away, but one person in the chat in particular should definitely be getting this one. Glad to hear you made it back as well, Matthew. YouTube stopped working, so you had to switch over to Facebook. So nothing's ever easy, is it? One day Facebook's not working, the next week it's YouTube that stops working on you. So you just never know. It's not Jersey, as I say, there is, without giving too much away, one person in the chat who should be getting this one. I would hope so. They should be getting this one. Daphne has got it as well. She's beaten Anya to it. Anya, I was thinking that you were going to be the first off the mark on this one, but yeah, it is indeed the flag of Dundee. I meant to have a look and see exactly why this was our flag, but it's a nice flag nonetheless, and it is actually an emoji on the instant messaging system that we use here at Findmypast as well. So a very nice flag nonetheless, and as I say, and Anya's saying it should be a unicorn. It should be a unicorn now that you mention it, but still quite a nice little flag and something that I didn't really know. I'd definitely seen that flag before, but I don't think I'd actually put two and two together. And yeah, as I say, I just went down this massive rabbit hole of looking at countries' flags, provinces in Canada, states in Australia, counties in the UK, all sorts. There's a great Wikipedia article, Flags of the United Kingdom. So unless I decide to play this again, maybe have a look at that article on Wikipedia because it just lists them all the different churches, counties, cities, different ones like that. And you're saying, I know the DC Thomson one. So you never miss that. If you're anywhere in Dundee, you can usually see that flying high from the building as well. And I was in the office on Tuesday, actually, and I had a look to make sure that it is still there. So as I say, we have one more, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this. If you bear with me a second. So this is a customer suggestion. So Sue Moon is not allowed to answer. But where do you think this flag is from? Which flag do you think this is? Josie and Liam's FMP educational channel. See, we're all learning something, whether it's the records that we have online or you just know 6, 7 more flags than you did at the start of the session. Everybody is learning something. I certainly learned quite a lot doing my research for this. So I'm glad you're finding it educational. Julie's saying Cornwall is not Cornwall. Karen, honestly, just showing off now. Sussex, it is indeed Sussex. A very nice flag as well. I really like that one as well. So thank you very much for that one, Sue Moon. That was good. Maybe we'll need to take more customer suggestions maybe now that we've figured out a very roundabout way of doing that. So I'm just going to close all these little tabs that I've ended up opening here with various flags open there. And that brings to a close. Where in the world is Findmypast? I'm going to need to trademark that, I think. That was a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone who took part. I know I said no prizes, but I feel like Karen deserves something for her performance there. But as I say, unfortunately, the only prize I'm able to offer is my eternal respect. So I'm hopefully that will be enough for you this Friday, Karen. So Suman saying that it's Sussex Day today. So that'll be why you'd seen that somewhere then. I've never seen that one before, as I say. Not even something I really appreciated was that all these counties and different things have flags like that either. So it was very good. So a nice suggestion there, Ellie. No, it is not Findmypast presents fun with flags. It is Where in the World is Findmypast. Much catchier, rolls off the tongue. I'm sure you'll all agree. That is what it's called. And as I say, I'm trademarking that. So you're not allowed to call it Findmypast presents fun with flags, or there will be a case coming your way. But as I say, thank you very much. I'm glad everyone enjoyed that as well. As I say, I thought I'd make today a little bit of a lighter session just because, as I say, I will be back next week. You're going to be sick to death of me, but I'll be back next week with more on the research, more on the feature side of things as well. So I thought we'd keep it light today, do some quizzes, get everybody involved as well. So good stuff. Karen saying the honour is enough. I'm glad, Karen. I'm very glad because, as I say, I don't have much else to offer you, unfortunately. So I'm glad that is sufficing for the time being. So you called it spot on, Anya. That I've said it twice now. Today was going to be a shorter one. It's 4:43. I've still got some question of the week answers to read out. So we are not going anywhere just yet. We'll have another look at some of the answers I didn't read out earlier. And then I will let you all get on and enjoy the sun. Enjoy your weekend. So where did I get up to? We got up to Karen's cousin's birthday, I believe. Let's have a look. So Anya, I like this suggestion. Having a good playlist of music, loud neighbours that I need to drown out with all the windows open. I found some nice lo-fi and retro wave playlists on Spotify, or I ping on a podcast. So I'm like that. I really want to have the window open just to get a little bit of a breeze through. But as I mentioned, they're building those flats out the back of mine at the moment. So it has been cement mixers, stones being grinded up all day. So even with the music on, it just becomes a bit of a headache after a while. And I'm not entirely sure the neighbours appreciate my music either, but I do like a lo-fi playlist. When I was doing some studying over the last couple of months, the Spotify and YouTube lo-fi playlists were just really nice. I like those kind of continuous ones where you don't have to think about it, because I'm bad for playing a song, getting stuck into a bit of work, that song ends, then I pick up my phone, then I pick a new song, and next thing I know, 5 minutes has passed and I've not done anything. So I like those kind of continuous ones there. And Georgia's plans for the weekend, son, are to plough through her DNA matches, trying to see where we are connected. Slow progress. So it can be tricky that when you have a DNA match, trying to figure out where the match actually comes from itself. So I wish you all the best with that as well. Andrew saying somewhere shady to rest and do a bit of research. Cool drink in hand. A little bit of a pint of your research, Andrew. Can't go wrong. I'll be right there with you in about 15 minutes time as well. And couple more. Jo saying she's catching up reading family history magazines and local history books if sitting outside. Much nicer to do that outside when you don't need to worry about the glare on your laptop screen and visiting family history relevant places, including churches and graveyards. Love a trip to church and graveyard. And archives are a nice place to visit when it's hot outside. You need to take advantage of places like archives and libraries when it's like this. Make use of their air conditioning as well. So don't blame me for that, Joe. And like I say, nice getting using good weather to get out and about, but also keeping it relevant to your family history as well. And Beth, in a very similar vein, saying that she's worth visiting graveyards and cemetery in the morning and evening. For those of us who have hay fever, absolutely middle of the day is definitely the worst time for it. And visits the archive and local family history society to escape the pollen. Another thing, it's not just the sun you need to worry about. You can all the sun cream you want. You need to keep on top of those 1-a-day tablets as well. I've been, as I say, touch wood, being quite good at it as well. And a lot of love for the societies and archives at the moment. Callie's saying the same as well, that it is indeed a very good time to check out family history societies and local history libraries, as I say, combining getting out in the sun, enjoying the outdoors, but also getting that family history research done at the end of it as well. So let's have a look and see if I missed anything in the comments. Julie saying more quizzes. I'll bear that in mind. As I say, I might not have time for one next week because, as Ellie says, very exciting. We have not one but 2 people from our product team coming to chat to you. So although you have a Liam double header, I will be back next week. You'll be glad to know that a good portion of next week's will be taken up by people from the product team, much more knowledgeable than myself, and they will be filling you in on some new features as well. So that is very exciting indeed as well. Anything here that I've missed here as well? And a nice note to end on, I think. Julie saying, I love history. Simple as that. Don't we all? And it has been a very enjoyable session as always with you all, looking at a bit of history, bit of flags, and as I say, some very, very useful tips for us all to enjoy over the weekend and stay safe from the sun. So I think, and yeah, as I say, you know me better than I know myself. I said it was going to be a shorter one. Somehow that quiz took as long as it did. That was about over half an hour ago now that I said that. So you know what I'm like at this point. I'm just not going to say it anymore. I'm never ever going to say today's going to be a shorter one. One day it's going to be a shorter one and I won't have said anything. But as I say, it never happens, does it? By the time I get going, you cannot stop me apparently. So I will let you all go and get on with your weekends. Do enjoy the sun. Stay safe. For those that are hay fever sufferers out there, especially stay safe. Hope you fight it off for another weekend and hope everyone has a lovely weekend. Thank you all very much again for joining us. And I will be back in a week's time to see you all again. So I will be sure to see some of you there. But as I say, for now, have a good one and I'll see you later on.